Hello, everybody. Hey, thanks for joining us today. This is Brad Lewis with Premier Marketing, and we have Jeremiah Tacker with Transamerica. He's our Regional Vice President of Sales. And today we're excited to learn some of the updates that Transamerica's recently announced. Make sure you're up to date and have all the information you need to write Transamerica Final Expense product. They're constantly making improvements to the process and the product, and we just want to make sure we keep you up to date on that. During today's call, if you happen to have any questions, there's a question box on the GoToWebinar screen there for you. So just type in your question that you have, and we'll answer those questions at the end of the call if you don't get your answer during the presentation today. So we're excited again to have Jeremiah with us. He's a great partner of ours, and a lot of you will have the opportunity to speak to him if you need to have some help from him as well. He's very accessible to us, which makes him a great partner. So Jeremiah, I'm going to let you take it away. Thanks for joining us today.
You bet, Brad. Well, always a pleasure to join this group. And I turned on my webcam. I apologize. The backgrounds, you guys understand. I'm just redoing the basement. So if I would turn my computer to this way, you would be able to see where my office is going to be once it gets done. So just ignore the background. For some reason, this GoToWebinar doesn't let me do a virtual background. But I wanted you guys to make sure you saw me, you saw my face. I wish I could see all your guys' faces. I like to do that, but I know with GoToMeeting it's kind of restricted a little bit. So all is well here. We'll get the information across, and we'll make sure we get all your questions answered. Like Brad said, if you have questions, type them in. Brad and his team have been great partners. I started working with them earlier this year, and I know they do well. You guys do well. We appreciate everything you guys do, and are just excited to continue our relationship as we move into next year. But what I wanted to share today, which some of you may have heard, some of you may have not, we have done a lot of changes to our final expense, and not really changes in as far as like application or that type of stuff. Drastic, but we've made a couple changes to underwriting, which has been the real prominent deal, which is why I want to share this again with you guys as we end the year and as we get into next year, what we're doing. And then I'll share with you some insight on something new that we're rolling out with too as well in this. So with that, without further ado, I want to share a little bit about myself. For those of you that don't know me, I've been in the industry since 2007. I started out with Transamerica. Fortunately for me, I didn't know a lick about insurance when I got started, right? I started in the processing side of things. I worked in contracting, licensing, new business, commissions, customer service, sometimes all at once. It just depends on what my role was at that time. But it helped me gain some knowledge on what those departments do, the processes of those departments. And now they've changed since then, but the fact of the matter is that they're still basically the same, right? Still the process isn't really changed that much. And I'm accustomed to working with those folks. So a lot of connections, a lot of knowledge in that area. In 2012, I transitioned to the sales team where I was an internal wholesaler. So I love working with agents. I wanted to work with the products more. I wanted to train on the products. The challenge was I didn't have, I gained the product knowledge, but I didn't have a lot of experience selling. So in 2013, I became a licensed life and health insurance agent. And I sold part-time while I was working for Transamerica outside business hours, which again, helped give me that relatability to you guys. Whether it was talking to a career agent or talking to an independent agent, which is, I worked with both sides. It still was the same. They were going through the same processes and talking with the clients about the same things, and both having the same rebuttals and overcoming those and things like that. So it helped me to get some real-time experience in there, which I enjoyed. I enjoyed so much that in 2017, I left Transamerica and I went to full-time sales, right? So I went full-time sales, very successful in that even within my first 6 months. I actually met a friend of mine, a little older gentleman, that had started an agency, and I came in, kind of helped revive his agency, bring it back to where he wanted it to be. Shortly after that, he ended up retiring, and I took over the agency. I ran it for the next 4.5 years or so, And then just recently here in February, stepped away from that and came back with Transamerica. So, which I'm very excited to be back. It was a great move for me. It was just my time to do what I needed to do. And, you know, in light of that, I get to share all the things we're doing with our products, give my input from being in the field and being a personal producer on how we can make our products better for you guys in the field. And then, you know, share my experience and my knowledge with you. So excited to do that. One thing I want to cover today, and we're going to talk about real quick. I'm going to give you an agenda of what we're going to go over. So you see on the screen here what we're going to cover. We're going to cover a lot about, you know, our commitment and what we're doing, product overview, the streamlined process. We're going to go over some e-app updates and policy e-delivery, a lot of underwriting things we're going to go over, and then I'll talk through a few different other important resources and information that you need to know as well. So let's get into that. I'm going to skip over that. I want to make sure you guys have contact with Transamerica, right? I know you guys through Brad and his team. You have great mentors within, you know, you out in the field. You have great marketer support there with Brad and his team. Utilize those folks, right? I'm not saying that you need to contact us over them. All I'm saying is we want, and Premier and them are on board with Brad and them. We want you to have the most contacts that you possibly can so that you can get the help that you need, right? So use us as an additional contacts, but what you can utilize us for are specific things like product marketing and sales support. Really, that's what me and my team really specialize in, right? So when you're reaching out to me, that's my personal cell phone number. You can call or text me there. That's my email as well. Then I have 2 internal wholesalers that work with me because as a RVP with Transamerica, I travel quite a bit. And even like today, you know, I have 2 of these webinars scheduled, and most days I at least have 1, if not up to 3 webinars scheduled a day if I'm in, you know, if I'm in the office and not traveling. So I tend to keep myself busy in those things, which unfortunately takes away from maybe helping on emails or phone calls in some cases. And that's why I have James and Jason there. They don't do any webinars, they don't do any trainings, they don't travel. They're in the office to help you with what you need. And that's their direct office lines and their emails as well. Again, what can we help you out with? Breaking down from product marketing and sales support, we can help you out with illustration support, product questions, sales ideas. If you are having questions outside of those areas, whether it be commissions, new business, things like that, we can assist there. As long as if you've gone to Brad, gone to their team, you know, gone to maybe our new business team or customer service team, if you've gone through those channels and you're not getting the timely response that you need, not saying from Brad's team, but from Transamerica perspective, then reach out to Brad or reach out to us and his team if they're not available. So in light of that, you know, if you have questions, I think Brad and his team feel the same way. We want to be not only supporters for you guys, but teachers. So if you are calling us for illustration support or quote support, if at all possible, you know, have us be sitting in front of your computer and have that information up. You know, I don't have any names on the phone today, but I'll use Brad as an example. If me and Brad are competing for the same client, right? You know, we may not know we are, but if I have an appointment at 10, he has an appointment at 2, and I come in, I can't answer a few questions. Maybe I can't run a quote or illustration for them. I have to reschedule, get the home office to do it, and then come back. But Brad comes in at 2 and knocks out all the questions, runs an illustration, fits it in their financial portfolio perfectly. He's going to make that sale, right? I'm not going to have another opportunity to get in that home. And really, that's what, you know, combination between, you know, my team and Brad's team, what we want to do. We want to teach you to be able to do things like that so that you can gain the trust and the confidence of your clients so that you can close more sales, right? And that's our job, right? Is to help you do things like that. And last but not least, more contact support you have, the better. If you can't get a hold of Brad's team, if you can't get a hold of the 3 of us, you can call the 866 number. We have 13 internal wholesalers. It will go through a queue. One of those folks in that queue, once they become available, they'll answer your phone call and get you the answers that you need. So with that, saying, you know, you have multiple levels of support from your uplines, your mentors, to Brad's team, to here at Transamerica. Make sure you utilize us. We want to be there to help you guys. And I think Brad would echo that as well. So let's talk about the product now. Let's talk about what we came here to do, right? We came here to talk about our final expense. What is it? What do we have? What are the changes that we've made? Let's talk about those things. So product overview, right? So we have 3 different final expense products for you guys that don't know. We have an immediate solution, a 10-pay solution, and an easy solution. I'm going to go through the 3 of those real quick. Our immediate solution is level pay to age 121. Right, so it's the same premiums every month, every year, however you're doing it, up until age 121. So lifetime pay. Most people don't know issue ages for us 0 to 85. We go down to age 0. So 15 days old, as soon as they have a social, you can write a policy on that client, on that person, right? Minimum 1,000, maximum 50. A lot of people are aware we go up to 50,000. This is full death benefit available day 1, so this is preferred and standard rates apply for the immediate solution. And we have additional benefits. The terminal illness, pretty self-explanatory. The accelerated death benefit rider with nursing home benefit, that pertains to clients that are could potentially go into a nursing home. We benefit for them, and all they basically what is required is they need to be by a licensed physician, defined to go into a nursing home and basically remain there until end of their life, right? So that is a qualification. If they are if a licensed certified physician says to them that they need to go into a nursing home and remain there until they pass away, then they qualify, and then they can accelerate the death benefit to use that for really whatever they want. Basically, I mean it's kind of meant to pay for the nursing home, and I believe that that may be what they need to use it for. I'd have to I know some of our benefits you can use for other things, but I'm pretty sure that is needed to be used 100% for the nursing home and nursing home costs to overcome that if you wanted to, right? And then we have our accidental death, which is self-explanatory, but we have a child and grandchild rider on our policies as well. And basically what that says is that you can put a policy. So if Brad took one out on himself, he can add a rider for all of his children. He can get up to $5,000 in coverage on those children, and it's a very cheap cost. It's that rider. There's no medical done on those children, so it's kind of a guaranteed issue rider for those children and grandchildren. And then he can have that. The children need to convert that before, or Brad or the children need to convert that before they're 25. It's convertible into the child or grandchild's own permanent policy, and then if it doesn't get converted, it falls off. So that's kind of the gist of the child and grandchild rider. And there are a good breakdown of information on that rider in our policy guide as well. So take a look at that, or if you have any questions, type them in. We can talk a little bit more about that too. The one product that I would say that most people don't sell and don't know about is our 10-pay solution. So this is a very unique product. I mean, you see this sometimes out there with other carriers, but you don't see it very often. So our 10-pay solution means the product is you're paying premiums for 10 years. So this does get a little bit more expensive than the immediate solution, but I'm going to give you a couple ways that you can market or even sell this here in a minute. But again, it is 0 to 85, maximum 1,000, or minimum 1,000, maximum 50. Again, preferred and standard rates, full death benefit available day 1. Does have the additional benefits in the nursing home rider and the terminal illness, but not the optional riders. So a couple different ways that you can look at this, right? One way that I like is juveniles, right? I don't necessarily, when I'm going into a home and maybe the parents want more than 5,000 that the rider offers, or maybe their children are insurable. Like sometimes you run into children that are uninsurable, which makes that rider useful, because you can still get that child that rider for at least 5,000 in coverage, where I mean, if they're uninsurable, you can't get them coverage anywhere else, right? Guaranteed issue doesn't start really till age like 30, 35, maybe 40. So it's a great way for children that are uninsurable on the rider. But if your child is insurable, write the 10-pay solution. That juvenile rate on those, if you compare an immediate solution to a 10-pay, it's not much different. They're young, they're healthy, it's a smaller gap, right? And if you write someone a 10-pay solution, if you bring that to a family and they have a 15-day-old baby with a social security number, and you write that, by the time that child is 10 years old, they have paid up life insurance. So again, that's level premiums for 10 years. and then no more premiums are due, and that policy stays in force for life. Nobody can take that away. So one, it's a great way, because I've been a personal producer and I've ran an agency. I've come across this several times where maybe their child's 5 or 6 years old and they didn't get life insurance on them. Now they're uninsurable. Just imagine if you'd have brought this up to them, even an immediate solution or even a 10-pay, if you'd have brought this up to them and got them coverage for a child at a very inexpensive rate. But still, you still have the opportunity to write that child and grandchild rider on those children as well. The other one, so when you get, as you get a little older, maybe let's say you're writing a 50-year-old. So the older you get, the larger that spread is going to be on what the premium is going to be to pay for a 10-pay over an immediate solution, right? And you gotta, you obviously got to balance that out in what they can financially afford. But the way you can sell this, right? So I haven't given a final expense webinar in quite some time, so I might be a little rusty on my dollar amounts here. But if you write a immediate solution on a 50-year-old, let's just say for the example, we're going to use $70 a month, right? So $70 a month, 50 years old. He's paying premiums on that. Basically we're gonna use the example, like, you're 50 years old. If you if you lived to a average lifetime of a human male, which is what, we're gonna say 85. I think it's actually 82, but we're gonna say 85, right, to make it even years. So 35 years, right? So we take the difference here. We say immediate solution, right? If you take this out, it's $70 a month. It's 70 times 12, times 35 years, which I believe comes out to be, I think, 17,000. I believe you can do the math on that. I may be a little rusty. Actually, I'm gonna do the math for you here so we can make sure it's right. So 70 times 12 times 35, right? Actually, it's 29,000. Sorry, so 29,000. Apologize. See, I'm a little rusty on that. So glad I did the math. So do that. You say, okay, Brad, I have this immediate solution that we've talked about. It's $70 a month. It's right in your price range for what you financially afford. Even if you would live to an average lifespan of 85, 35 years, that's $29,400. $400. I have this other option for you, Brad, that I want to share all the information with you and let you make the decision. But I have a 10-pay solution. This, what it means is, Brad, you're going to pay premiums for 10 years. Now, it's a little more expensive than the immediate solution, but you're only paying premiums for 10 years. So instead of potentially 35 or more, now, Brad, you could pass away at any time, right? But if you live to a lifespan of an average human male, it's 35 years. You could live longer, you could live shorter. So we're going to use that as an example. 35, you're paying $29,400 overall if you pass away at 85. But if we take this 10-pay, and now the 10-pay here is, let's say it's $110 a month. So $110 a month times 12 times 10 is only $13,200. So Brad, now you have an option here. If you think you can afford the extra $40 a month into this policy, this 10 years worth of premium is only $13,000. That means I'm going to save you about $16,000 in premium potentially, if we're going off the example that I'm using, right? If you were to either pass away at that average lifespan at 85, right? Using that as an example, I could potentially save you almost $16,000 overall in premiums due, right? And then you let them make the decision, right? We let them decide what they want to do. Can they afford the extra 40? Can they not? Do they want to just pay them in the solution? And you let them make a decision, then you move on with the app. Whatever decision they make, you disagree with them, right? And you don't talk. You let them know, like, here's the options. Do you want to do option 1 or option 2, Brad? And you have to be quiet, right? You have to learn that as an agent, to just sit back and be quiet, because the first one that talks loses, right? And we don't want to be the first one to talk. We don't want to lose. We want to make the sale. It can get awkward. Trust me, I've done this, and it was super hard in the beginning, right? I lost a lot because I talked. But I think the longest I might have sat was over 5 minutes without anybody saying a word. And then finally, they broke it, right? Because I kept kind of nudging the paper forward, not really saying anything, but just kind of moving the paper. It wasn't straight, something like that. just make those nuances there. But I think I've said over 5 minutes without saying a word in front of a client. It's super awkward and super weird, but I won it. They picked one and we went with it, right? And then you agree, you just agree. If they go with immediate solution, great choice. I think that if that fits in your financial budget, great choice. What's your name? What's your full name, date of birth, and address? Then you start with the application, right? Start going right in there. And if they choose a 10-pay, you do the same thing. Now our last one is our easy solution. So Transamerica doesn't have a guaranteed issue. I don't want to confuse you now. The children and grandchild rider is kind of a guaranteed issue rider for your children, right? We don't underwrite on that, but we don't have a guaranteed issue policy. We have a graded policy. It's called the easy solution. It's a little bit different. Level premium stage 121, minimum 1,000, maximum 25, so a little change. Issue age is 18 to 80, right? So you see little differences there in this product with the issue ages and the face amounts. You have death benefit, it's graded. So it's graded death benefit for the first 2 years. So what that means is the client passes away in the first 2 years, then it's premiums plus 10%. So premiums return plus 10%. So whatever premiums they paid in, they get a return, and then we multiply that by 10% and pay them out that. After 2 years, start of the third year, it's full death benefit. Then no additional riders, right? So those are our 3 policies. How we compare, I'm going to spend just a very brief minute on this. So I know you guys have access to all these products, right? And they're all great companies, right? I used to be a personal producer where I was independent. And I ran an agency who was independent. I've sold all these carriers, right? They all have their nuances and niches. I'm going to share with you just some that Transamerica have. One, I mentioned 0 to 85. No other carrier on this list goes down to age 0. Maximum 50,000. Only half of us go up to 50,000. We still have right now preferred and standard rates. There's a lot of carriers that just went to a hybrid standard, right? It's kind of an in-between a preferred and standard. So the reason I mention that is if you can get preferred with Transamerica, which I'm going to show you a bunch of ways you can, you're going to, it's going to be a better rate every time. Even if you get standard with Transamerica, we're still very competitive with these hybrid standards that are out there now. Nursing home benefit rider, there's only half of us that have that availability, which is a big rider. A lot of clients like that. Child and grandchild rider, only half of us have that, but we are the only one that covers up to 9, right? The rest of them cover less. Convenience of Social Security using Direct Express. So I'm going to tell you right now, this slide is incorrect. American Amicable and Americo do not have this option, right? We are the only one on this list that uses a Social Security Direct Express card. In Transamerica, I will tell you, I've used them personally when I personally produce. Our agency used them in a whole for majority of our Social Security business. We've been doing that for a long time. If you want a big niche, that is a niche for Transamerica right there. And we add to that by accepting the Social Security Direct Express card. And why is that important? Well, briefly, if we go over this, so all of us, even Transamerica and all these carriers on this list and more, we all, most of them will take Social Security, right? But a lot of them do it from bank account only. What's the problem with that? Well, you can only draft from a bank account when the bank is open, right? You can request to draft, but it doesn't actually go through until the bank does it on their end, right? And so with the banks being able to do it, sometimes with the amount of policies that carriers have doing Social Security benefits, there's a delay in when they draft the premium out of the client's account. It's not on Transamerica, it would be on the bank. We've requested it. Once they open, they start drafting those out, but there may be a delay depending on how many they have and when the bank does it and all that stuff. Now we know these clients are on limited income. So when they know they're getting Social Security, the bank opens at 8, they're there at 7:59, ready to take that money out, right? So sometimes if there's a delay, they get the money out. That means the draft can't be taken because there's no money in their account. That causes a lapse in a policy potentially with a chargeback to you. That happens more often when you're doing it from a bank account. Now, Transamerica takes Social Security Direct Express. None of these other carriers do. Why is that important? Well, the Direct Express is like a debit card, right? So your client has the option to do this. They can take it on a debit card. If they have it, I would strongly urge you to put their Social Security Direct Express on there. Because what can we do from a debit card perspective is that we can take money off that debit card at like 2 in the morning before the client, and it takes it, right? It takes it right there. It doesn't wait till the bank opens. It takes it at that point in time. And so what we do is we set that up to draft, shortly after midnight or whatever, so that when that's put in the account, then we can draft, and now it causes you less lapses and less chargebacks, right? When we were able to do that. So that's why Social Security Direct Express is so important. So if you're not asking that question to your clients when Social Security comes up, please do, and utilize that and use Transamerica, because we allow it and we advance on it, right? So you get, if you're on advance, you get advanced on that. And then we have our underwriting, real-time decision. So right now, yes, we are real-time decision. I'm going to share a little bit about that. Let's talk about our process a little bit. And Brad, maybe before I transition, is there any questions that are coming? Grab a swig of water, but any questions that are coming in yet?
Let me take a quick look here and see if we have any yet. Jennifer's just looking for the policy guide emailed to her, which we can definitely do that for her. We can get her the summary of benefit, or summary. Yep, absolutely. That's the only one so far. Whoops,
awesome.
Yep.
Is that it?
Yep.
Beautiful. All right. This must be doing a good job this morning, or you guys are sleeping on me out there. So I hope I can wake you up with some of this stuff. Real-time decisions. I just mentioned that. So you get a decision within minutes. It's going to be an email that's sent to you within a minute or two. After you send that e-app in, you're going to get that email back to you letting you know if your client is approved or not. I'm going to share a little bit about what those emails look like here in a minute. A digital application, we've shortened it. It's now faster, easier with fewer questions. And now we've added e-delivery, which is great as well. Your client does have to opt in, and I'll talk about that here in a minute. Like I said, just some of the things that we've done. We've expanded the use of our digital medical data, which allows us to underwrite less. Like right now, we are having underwriters touch maybe 15% of our applications, right, that are coming in. Otherwise, it's flowing through automatic. So it's automatic underwriting, right? Right now. We shortened our app. So now we only have one personal history question. And that's a lie. I've counted these. There's only about 12 health or personal history questions on here. We're going to look, and I'll count them for you personally. We do have one upfront eligibility question, but we've lessened our app by about 40 less input fields. So as you can imagine, that can save you a ton of time. Now our application takes anywhere from, if you're familiar with it, you can probably get it done in 10 minutes. If you're unfamiliar, it might take you 15. I mean, it's not a long app. I mean, it's very easy to get through. And then we have the e-delivery, which I mentioned earlier, we'll talk about. So what are these updates I mentioned? Well, here's your eligibility question. Very simple, let you know it's one question. It has a lot of items involved in it, so you do have to kind of read through it and make sure the client answers yes. So that's a tricky part of this. It really means yes, they're confirming they have not been diagnosed for any of these things, right? If they answer no, means they're not confirming that, so that means they are it's not available for them, right? So it's going to let you know that up front. But if they are, say yes, they can move forward. And here are the health questions. So here's kind of the personal history questions. So you have 5 here. I'm going to count them for you, so you can believe me that this slide is wrong. They should say 12. So there's 5. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are basic ones. Drug abuse, alcohol abuse, DWIs, pending convicted of a felony, height and weight. So there's your 5 personal history questions. And so here's one. I count this as one question because it's one question here. You're selecting all that apply, and this becomes very important when I share the product guide, and I'll share that with you here in a minute. And then last but not least, we have, whoops, what did I passed the slide. So then you have so that was 5, you have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right? So 12 questions literally on this application. But the most important question, and this is the trigger that makes us unique outside of any other carrier out there. No other carrier has what we have, and that's called an activity credit. And this second to last question is your most important personal history question on the application. In a typical week, do you perform any intentional physical activities such as yard work, walking, exercise, or playing sports for at least 10 consecutive minutes? If they answer yes to this, and they need to do this at least 3 days out of the week for at least 10 consecutive minutes to qualify, it triggers what we call an activity credit, which can change the rating on a lot of, very common medical conditions. And I'm going to show you those actually right now, because that's what I want to bring up for you. And you know what? I didn't actually open this up. So we're going to get in here and grab this real quick. One thing I forgot to open up, and it's very easily found. And there we go. We'll click on that. It should open right up for us. Perfect. Let me bring this back up. And then I'm going to open this right here. Okay. So I've already kind of gotten down here, but I'm going to scroll through. So on page 9, I'm going to start on page 9 because that explains the activity credit a little bit more in detail. So what types of activity are included in this, right? You have activities such as walking the dog, gardening, mowing the yard, other odd jobs requiring manual labor, jogging, running, using the elliptical, rowing machine, stationary bike, lifting weights, or other common exercises. I include like pickleball, water aerobics, things like that in there as well. So as long as they're doing them at least 3 days a week for 10 consecutive minutes at a time, they qualify. You can answer yes to that question, right? And so what does it do? Well, I want to show you this. I'll go through our rules here, but again, the one thing I want to stress with you guys is we are different than every other carrier, right? We don't look at medications. The client could be taking 20 medications. We only care about the medications that are affecting medical conditions or lifestyle factors listed in our product guide. And there's 4 pages, right? So we don't care if they're taking metformin. Well, we do actually, because I think that's for diabetes, I believe. But the medication doesn't matter. Metformin, I believe, is used for diabetes. We care about the diabetes, right? So they have diabetes. That's what we care about. We don't care if they're taking Lipitor for, I think maybe high blood pressure or cholesterol, one of the two. We don't care about that. Actually, high blood pressure and cholesterol is not even on this list. So if your client just has high blood pressure and cholesterol, guess what? They can get preferred with Transamerica. It's not listed on here. So we care about the medical condition or lifestyle factor. We don't care about the medication. But if the medication is used for a medical condition or lifestyle factor, then we want to know what that medical condition or lifestyle factor is, and so do you. So you can look it up and see what their rating is. Very easy to follow. And why I want to bring this up, I'm going to show you all of the things that are affected by medical conditions and by that activity credit, right? Very common ones. There's only one on here that I've never seen out in the field, right? So anemia, I've seen this one. You guys probably have too. It's actually graded, but if they have that activity credit that I just mentioned, it bumps it to standard. And if there's no treatment in the last 3 months, it actually goes to preferred. We have things like asthma. If it's mild, we actually get preferred. There's no limitations or anything. You actually get preferred. But if it's chronic asthma, it's standard. But if they have the activity credit, it bumps it to preferred. We have black lung. This is the one I've never come across in the field. Probably more, I believe there's still areas maybe down south or there that do mining still. I think that's a thing. Very, very uncommon, but it's common down there. Maybe that's probably what it pertains to. But if you're down there and you are around miners that have black lung, it's standard, but with that activity credit, it's preferred. Chronic bronchitis, standard, with activity credit, preferred. A couple other ones I like to point out. Congestive heart failure is standard with Transamerica. COPD is standard, but with activity credit, it's preferred. I said that right. COPD can be preferred with activity credit, right? I didn't say that wrong. You guys are seeing it on the screen. Depression is preferred. Diabetes type 1 and 2 is standard with Transamerica. We have things like emphysema, standard with activity credit, preferred. I'm going to go through that. You guys noticing these are all pretty common ones that you're seeing in the field. These aren't just like random ones that you're never seeing. Heart disease is actually preferred. And I want to show you guys something. So as we go back, I just want to go back up real quick. There's How many of these see heart disease? So heart attack, see heart disease. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3 right on the same screen. So there's 3 of them. As we scroll up, there's 4, there's 5, there's 6, there's 7, there's 8, there's 9, there's 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 things that see heart disease. Now, I hope you all are sitting down because I'm about to blow your mind with something. If your client has all 3 or all 13 of these things that say see heart disease, all 13, they could have angina, angioplasty, arrhythmia, they could have, I don't want to read through them all, but if they have all 13 of these, you say see heart disease, you go to heart disease, it says preferred. They could have all 13 of those things and they're still going to get preferred. Mic drop, boom. Is the presentation over? Just kidding. But you're not going to get that anywhere else, right? That's why Transamerica's underwriting is so great right now, and why you should be writing a lot of final expense with us, because we are going to get your clients the best ratings. And turn around, I'm going to show you how we have the best rates over all the companies that I just showed you. Right? Every single company that I just showed you, when I compared companies, I'm going to show you how we beat them in rates. Right? But that's a mind blower right there, right? Heart disease, all heart attack, or heart disease, all preferred. They got all 13 of them. So as we continue to go through this, hospitalization, if they're currently in hospital, they're obviously a decline. But if it's within the last 12 months, but they're out, it's standard with activity credit preferred. Kidney failure, kidney disease, liver disease disorder, all standard with Transamerica. We have things like, let's see, we're going to go down a little, and you see still there's more heart disease down here. I mean, there's more of these that say see heart disease, right? Let's see here. We're going to go through a few other ones. Respiratory disease disorder, standard with activity credit preferred. Schizophrenia, seizures, preferred with Transamerica. Sleep apnea. I know you guys run into this a lot. CPAP treatment with supplemental oxygen. So with, or an oxygen concentrator is standard. The standard all alone. With activity credits preferred. If it's without oxygen, it's preferred. Then I mean, it's still, see, you guys are still seeing more heart disease. There's probably 20 different things that say heart disease on here. They can have all 20, right? And you're going to get preferred. Stroke, standard with activity credit preferred. And then TIA, right? TIA is standard with activity credit preferred. So guys, there's like 15 things on there that I just went over that activity credit affects, right? So if you, that's why that question is so important, because you're going to get these guys that have strokes and TIAs and sleep apnea. You're going to get them potentially preferred, where you're not getting preferred with other carriers. You're not getting preferred with other carriers on these things. Now let's talk a little bit about the rules, so you guys can. It's very easy. I think everybody makes this a lot harder than what it is. Why we're not going to be able to be interactive, but I'm going to go through examples. I don't think we can turn the mics on for everyone, but it's very simple, guys. I know there's a lot of verbiage here, but I'm going to break it down for you, right? Very simple. If you have all preferreds, the client's preferred, right? If everything you looked up in medical conditions says preferred, it's preferred. Now, if you throw one standard in there, the client is standard. If you throw two standards in there, the client is graded. And if you throw 4 or more standard or graded, they're a decline. Very simple, right? All preferred, preferred. One standard, they're standard. 2 standards, graded. 4 or more, they're decline, right? Very simple. So let's go through just a few examples. So, right, we're going to talk about what I like to use is, let's do, let's do congestive heart failure, which is standard. Let's do COPD, and they have COPD with the activity credit preferred. Okay, they have those two things. So they have a standard congestive heart failure and COPD with the activity credits preferred. So what would that client be? Well, I just said, if they have all preferred, they're preferred. If they have one standard, they're standard. There's one standard in here, right? So they'd be a standard rate. Do you think you're going to get standard if you have somebody that's COPD with congestive heart failure anywhere else? More than likely not. More than likely it's going to be maybe pushed into a graded. You might get standard with some others, but it's not very often. Right now, I want to go through one other one. So let's just say this person had congestive heart failure and they were hospitalized for, let's say, like a heart attack, which says C heart disease. So we got congestive heart failure, which is standard. Now, the big thing is write these down. Write them down. Go through here and write down all the ratings. Then you can count up the amount of standards or gradeds that you have, right? So we write these down. We have congestive heart failure, standard. They did have a heart attack, which says C heart disease, which is preferred. So you have a standard and preferred. They have, let's just say they have diabetes as well. So we go up to diabetes, which is standard. And then they were in the hospital for that heart attack not too long ago, but they have an activity credit. So 6 months ago, they were in the hospital, they have an activity credit, so preferred. So if you count those up, you have a preferred because of the activity credit. You have a heart attack, which is preferred. You have COPD, which is standard, or not COPD, congestive heart failure, which is standard, and then diabetes, which is standard. So if we add those up, that's 2 standards, they'd be a graded, right? But how many carriers do you think are going to write somebody that had a heart attack 6 months ago, that has congestive heart failure, that has diabetes, and what else did I say in there? Did I say, what did I say, COPD? I don't remember what else I said, but those 4 things, I mean, just those 4 things, do you think you're going to get, are they going to be covered? They can get graded with Transamerica. Now, the last one I want to do, because it's 2 standards, right? So there's 2 standards there, 2 preferreds, 2 standards, which makes them graded. Now, the last one I want to do is I want to do a stroke. Actually, let me see here. So stroke. Actually, let's not do stroke. Let's do one more that that gives us preferred. So let's say we have a heart attack and we have COPD. So heart attack, COPD is standard, but we have the activity credit. So COPD is standard, but activity credit is preferred. And then we have a heart attack, which is preferred. So two preferreds, they're preferred, right? Very easy. And if you have only preferreds, it's preferred. The last one I want to share with you guys before I move on, because we have 15 minutes left and a lot of information to cover, is one other quick one. So they have a stroke, which is standard with activity credit. They were in the hospital because of that stroke 6 months ago, which is standard with activity credit. And they have, they have heart disease. So with this, so now you see there's hospitalization that has the activity credit and a stroke that had the activity credit. The activity credit can only be used on one medical condition. So let's just say we used it on the stroke. So if we go down here, stroke is standard with activity credits preferred. So we have preferred. We have the hospitalization. Let's say it was 6 months ago, which is standard. And we have the heart disease, which is preferred. So there's one standard in there, make it standard. But again, what other carrier are you getting standard for with someone that had a stroke 6 months ago, that also had a heart attack, and that was hospitalized 6 months ago? Are you going to get standard anywhere else? Probably not, right? Those are the things that we're doing from an underwriting perspective that is changing the industry, and Transamerica is leading the way, right? So again, their team, the team at Premier can get you this product guide. And again, my suggestion for you is go through this when you're talking to your clients, medical conditions only, and then write down what rating they're getting, and then add up those ratings, right? Add up the standards, and that's going to tell you whether it's preferred, whether it's standard, whether it's graded or decline, right? Very easily done. Don't make it harder than it is. That's the easiest way to do it. So let's jump back into the presentation. A lot to cover. I'm going to run through a lot of this stuff. E-delivery, your clients have to consent into this. What happens with this is it avoids delays in waiting for a paper policy. Most paper policies to be printed and mailed take about 10 to 14 business days, right? So how can you speed up the process? Electronic delivery. If we can deliver those delivery requirements via email, we can get them to the clients faster within probably same day or 1 to 2 business days. And then they're signing those electronically and sending them back to us. That means we get them back faster. And then we can process that, means they're covered faster and you're paid faster, correct? So that's why e-delivery is so important. Case management, for those of you that are under Brad and his team and you have maybe an admin or someone in your office that is working your pending business while you're out writing new business, you can add them, put their name and email and phone number in here. They're going to get the same email as you are. That means while you're sitting in an appointment with a new client writing a new policy, that case manager can be working your pending business because they're going to get notifications. So a good addition we added to our application. And going back to the e-delivery, so how that kind of works is you as the agent and the insured / owner are going to get an email. You need to complete that information they need to complete that information within 20 calendar days. They'll get a reminder, they'll get an initial one, they'll get a reminder 7 days, they'll get a reminder 14 days in. And then at 20 days, we're going to automatically shut that off. We'll mail out the policy, and now electronic delivery is no longer available. They'll have to do it via mail. And make sure you as the agent, when you get that email initially, that you create this DocFast account to make sure that you're continuing to receive that information, those updates. Underwriting. So I want to share just a couple things. Again, going back to the underwriting, these are now things, I mentioned a couple of them, that weren't preferred in the past that are now listed as preferred. Again, these are things that changed, they're now preferred. And again, medical conditions, they're not listed. Again, there's no gray area, guys. If it's not listed on the product guide in the medical conditions, it's preferred. And I've gone through, I went through all the underwriting changes. I talked about the rules. I talked about the activity credit. Case scenarios, real quick, I want to run through these. Michael, 45. Look, he takes Humira for Crohn's disease, lisinopril for high blood pressure, tramadol for chronic pain, and citrafilm for depression. All of these things, actually, we look at Crohn's disease and depression. Oops. Everything else, we don't look at chronic pain, we don't look at blood pressure, but Crohn's disease and depression are all preferred. So guess what Michael gets? Michael gets preferred. Even though he's had a history of reckless driving, all of his weight class, his height and weight are all preferred. Here's Joan. This is probably your typical final expense client. High blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol. Well, what do we have here? We don't look at blood pressure. We don't look at cholesterol, so those are preferred, but diabetes is standard. So Joan gets standard, because again, 2 preferreds and a standard, we have 1 standard. We count the standards, makes it standard. Alex, 55. Now get this. This guy is 5'8", 275. Right? I just want you to look at something down here and why Alex is rating here. It says height and weight is standard. 5'8", 275 is listed as standard with Transamerica. And I want to share something with you. So this is unique, right? This is kind of a unique situation that you're probably not going to underwrite for or be able to account for, but you can look at the height and weight chart a little bit. So Alex has congestive heart failure, right? Which is great, which is standard. Alex's height and weight is also standard, right? 2 standards make it graded, right? That's why his policy is graded. But Alex has the activity credit. It doesn't change the congestive heart failure because congestive heart failure doesn't have a activity credit with it. But what it did is Alex's, and this is going to blow your mind as well. I just said Alex's height and weight of 5'8", 275 is standard, but it's so close to being preferred that with the activity credit, the underwriter said with the activity credit, because he's being healthy, we're going to put him at preferred because it's so close to being a preferred height and weight class at 5'8", 275 is close to being preferred, that they adjusted it and made it preferred, which now it's a preferred and a standard. Now he only has 1 standard rating, which changes his decision to a standard. Look at how much money it saves in that. I know we all could sell that or probably upsell that. So that's huge too. So you need to make note of the height and weight too. If the height and weight is close, Maybe don't account for it, but just be aware that that activity credit might push that into a preferred or a standard weight class, depending on where it's listed, right? So just be aware of that. And get this, I want to throw another one out at you, and that's the only one I really want to do on here, is 6'306". John here, 6'306". Look down here. Height and weight is standard. At 6'306", the client is standard. Guys, our processes are there for you, right? Instant decision. Our underwriting is there for you, getting clients a lot better ratings than what you're going to get elsewhere. And our height and weight chart is there, right? Guys, and our rates are there, which I'm going to show you here in a minute. Guys, we have nailed all 4 categories for you guys to earn your business. I think if you haven't tried us in a while, or you've been trying us, you probably know that things have gotten a ton better, and you're getting your clients better ratings than you've ever gotten. But those of you that have never tried Transamerica, get in there and try us out. We're gonna blow your mind with some of the things we're doing. Here's some of the emails. So we have your decision, approved as applied for, good to go. Other than applied for, it tells you what the rating is and why. We know the first question on the client about, why didn't I get preferred when you told me I get preferred? Well, you got standard for this reason. I'll refer to underwriter, which again, you're seeing about 15% of the time of the application, so not a whole lot there. Normally, you get a decision within 24 hours, right? Because a lot of those underwriters are we're automated underwriting on the rest of them, unless they're backlogged with maybe term or other business, which they're really not. They can concentrate on those. They get one for final expense, they can knock it out pretty quick. And then decline. We tell you why it's declined, so you can pivot there in the home, right? What's more important than that? And then if you do get a client that says, oh, you're standard because of this, and they say I never had that, you can give them this information or call or email with them, right? You can call Milliman or email Milliman. They do all of our electronic data. The clients can call them, and you can call with them and find out why they show up they had diabetes when they say they don't, and all that stuff. So they can be a caveat for you to turn the client over to in that situation, or work with the client on figuring that out. Last thing I want to show you, here's our rates, guys. I told you that I wanted to show you rates. Look at this. 15,000, male 55, female 55. Look at that top rate over all the carriers I showed you earlier that we are in high competition with, that are very reputable carriers. We are the best. Same with male 65 and female 65. We are the best, right? And sometimes by a lot. Look at this, almost a $20 savings here over America. Again, just 20, 9, 10, ton of savings on other carriers, right? So we've nailed every component of what you guys are looking for and what your clients are looking for. Make sure you're utilizing Transamerica. Social Security billing, one other thing to add to this is we have shortened our processing time for this from 10 days to 3 days, which makes it easier for you to get things in towards the end of the month to make sure that we can draft at the beginning of the next month, right? Instead of having to wait till the following month, which can sometimes delay at 40 days, which then throws everybody into confusion. So we've shortened our setup time from 10 to 3 days, which allows for you to get those policies in at the end of the month on Social Security and still have them draft the following month. A couple quick things. I know I have 4 minutes, and I'm open to stay a little bit longer if we have questions, but I want to share with you a few items. This is our new website. It's not really a new website. It's been out for a while, but this is secure.transamerica.com. If you're not utilizing this website, please do. Secure.transamerica.com. I'm going to show you why this website is so important. Once I can log in here, I hope I don't have time to mess around with the password. This is why this is important. All carriers, Mutual of Omaha, America, Foresters, all of us have all these websites that you guys can go to. But you guys have 20 different carriers. If each of us have 10 different websites, that's 200 websites you have to remember. With Transamerica, you have to remember one website, secure.transamerica.com. Then what do? We put all the websites that you have access to right in here. So instead of remembering 7 different web portals, which are in here, you remember one, and it gives you access to all 7. Now, granted, right now you have to log in. You can click and log into each of these, and you do need an email and password in that, or login and password. We're working on a single sign-on that will allow you just to get into these without having to log in. If you log in to secure.transamerica.com, we make it really easy and convenient. Now you know what websites you can go to and what websites are available. Again, you download Order Sales Literature, our new illustration software for term and IUL. We have our e-app. You can use our e-app for all of our products. Insurance Central, which I won't show you. I'm gonna maybe have time to show you real quick. A&I, where you can manage your business, pending and follow up on commissions. And Advisor Portal and Life Access allows you to manage your in-force and appointment status with Transamerica. Last thing, guys, we have mytranswarequote.transamerica.com. I know that's a mouthful. mytranswarequote.transamerica.com. This is the illustration software for Final Expense for your phone, right? For your phone. So you can now quote from your phone using the software. So you can quote clients from your phone, right from here. It's very simple. Pretty much answer the questions. You walk through, you hit get quote. It's going to give you the amounts both annually, semi-annually, quarterly, and monthly for those. It'll tell you what the riders cost individually. It gives you all that information. Last thing, we have a Transamerica convention. Again, it might be too late for some of you this year, but the reason I bring it up is because Transamerica will have one in 2025 as well, right? So for some of you, you might be hitting this, which we appreciate, and I look forward to seeing you down there, and thank you, right? Thank you all, right, for everything you do. Not only the ones that are making this trip, but everything you write with Transamerica and helping your clients. But if you are making it down, look forward to seeing you. If you're not, I want to make one thing clear, guys. We start qualifications for our trip in January. We may not announce our trip maybe until March, maybe even April, right? But I want to make sure you guys know if you start writing business in January with Transamerica that it's going to qualify for our 2025 trip, right? So don't delay waiting for the announcement of the trip. Start writing. Obviously, we're going to take you somewhere cool, and it's going to be awesome, and you're going to love the trip, and you're going to enjoy it, and you're going to get to hang out. But we'll announce that, and you guys can get started in January, and it goes through the end of the year. I want to get into Insurance Central real quick, so I'm going to jump back in here. I'm right on time. Brad, if there's any questions, have them queued up. I'll answer them real quick. Two things inside of Insurance Central. So transamerica.com/insurance-central. Great resource for you guys. If you go out to the resources tab, for those of you who are looking to utilize social media, we have social media resources out here. Click on this. We have posts that are compliant approved that you can share to all your social media links. If you're unfamiliar how to run a social media campaign, we have a step-by-step guide that you can utilize to run that social media campaign and utilize the posts that we have to put into that campaign. So everything's already done for you, and a step-by-step guide on how to do that. And then last thing is under tools. If you guys are looking for ways to prospect, we have a section called Knowing Where to Fish. Start prospecting. We have several sales strategies and several prospecting strategies out here spanning from social media, direct mail, custom letters, and more that you guys can grab out here and start utilizing to grow your client base and expand your portfolio. Brad, I know I'm a minute over. You have any questions that we can answer?
Actually, I just have one additional question. And that is, how does Transamerica view the use of marijuana? And I know that as an industry, it's definitely changing the view of that. It's lightened up with most all carriers, but I wanted to give you your opportunity to say how it works with Transamerica.
Yes, and we were actually, it was a funny thing, me and Brad were actually talking about this the other day, and I'm actually looking into that. I didn't announce, but we're going to roll out a new Final Expense product coming in potentially April, May next year. And there's going to be a lot of updates technology-wise to this thing. It's going to be smoother. I think you guys are going to really love it. I've got to put my input into it. We've had several people put their input from the field as well, and we're excited about it. And that question came up when I was talking to Brad about. So I'm actually reviewing that right now. So Brad, if you want to just let that agent know, or I mean, hopefully you're listening still. I'm going to get back with Brad because he had that same question, and I'm waiting for clarification on that. I believe we view it as a non-smoker, but I'm waiting for clarification from our underwriting team on that. So great question, and I'll make sure to get back with Brad on that because he wants the answer too, and I know you do. So I'll make sure to touch base, if not today, before the end of the week with Brad, and he'll be able to get in touch with you. So great question, and yeah, we've got a lot on that. But right now, I believe it's a non-smoker. I'll clarify that here either today or by the end of the week for you guys.
Perfect. Thanks, Jeremiah.
Awesome.
Looks like that's all the questions for today. So I know one of the other things that we have been experiencing when we call into Transamerica is definitely the increase in service that you guys have done recently with the dedicated lines and whatnot that you have available, and the people that you've put into the work you've done, increasing the staffing to help the service levels to get answers on existing policies or any issue you may have. So we're very thankful for Transamerica for doing that, because that's been a huge improvement for you guys and makes doing business with you guys much easier as well. So so thanks for doing that, Jeremiah. That's perfect.
If you haven't utilized our case management teams, please do. If you need that contact information, I know Brad and his team have it. Again, they are dedicated teams, and Brad makes a valid point. And just before you close this out, Brad, I want to thank everybody for joining. I hope you guys have a blessed week, a blessed day. Happy holidays to everyone out there, and I look forward to doing more of these webinars into next year. But be safe, happy holidays, and have a blessed one, guys. And Brad, I'll let you close this out.
You bet. Thanks, Jeremiah. Yeah, and on behalf of Premier, and especially on behalf of Nate, Tom, and Rick, can't thank you enough for your business in the final expense side of Transamerica. We really appreciate it, and we wish the best for everybody this holiday season, and looking forward to a great 2024. Thanks for joining us today. Have a great holiday, and that concludes our call for today. Thank you.